I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, what, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Always tell everything that's going on right up front, because if you tell everything that's going on right up front, then your enemy knows exactly what you're doing.
I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
Our own government working against us. I mean, we have been having the government working against us. We just didn't know. Heck, I fixed the refinery. Yeah, Biden will have your job, for sure. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is AprilLaJune. Yeah, love the new name. Are you talking about the Fugazi report? Yeah, yeah, that is a thing. I've actually had that channel for a really long time. I forgot completely about it until YouTube decided to be stupid, and I do mean super stupid, and deleted all my other stuff. So whatever. And then I found that and I was like, hey, you know what? I think I can broadcast on that. And I can. So there you have it. If you saw that clip in the very beginning with Biden, all right, you will see that there's a good case against Biden, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Susie Q is from North Carolina. Nice to see you over there. She says, crazy wind weather with tornadoes in the deep south. I saw that. Where was it? It was Florida. Had a big tornado over there. Not good. Not good. Richard Reeves is over there with Susie on Rumble. Nice to see you. We've got Barb and Wendy, and I hope your mom feels better, Wendy. We've got people joining us from Facebook and Twitter and all kinds of stuff, and I can't see how many people there are now. Thank you for trying to silence another conservative, which isn't ever going to happen. South Carolina also under tornado watch. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Well, yesterday I was going to put out my newsletter, but here's what happened. My eyes are killing me. Sometimes if I look at the screen too long, my eyes are killing me. And then between the hard drive and all that stuff, I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I have to just step away because I'm only one person. If I could dictate it, and have somebody else put it out, that'd be great. But it just takes too long. It just takes too long to get other people on the same page. So let's look at this. I want to look at this for a second because I think this is very, very interesting. This audio. I have the audio. I don't have a video, but I have an audio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my phone up to the mic so you guys can hear this. And I'm also going to put this up here so you can see the Twitter thing. Okay, so this is on X, actually. X. All right, so I want to play this because it's very interesting, this exchange. But before I do, I want to read you what Simon Ateba said. And I think this is very interesting because I don't know if he's got a language problem, doesn't understand what's being said, or I don't know. Lately, a couple of things that he said are just ridiculous. And if you'll remember, Simon Ateba is the reporter that Karine Jean-Pierre will not call on, and he's from a different country. And he does the reporting at the White House. Okay. So breaking, listen, here is the most contentious exchange, which I didn't think was contentious at all, exchange between Trump's lawyer and one of the judges in the D.C. Circuit Court today, determining whether Trump enjoys immunity for all his actions while in office. Now, this is the interesting part. Note, all three federal appeals court judges, including a Republican appointee, expressed skepticism about Trump's immunity claim in the indictment related to the 2020 election. Okay. Note, judges challenged arguments highlighting the unprecedented nature of judging a president's official actions and raising concerns about potential criminal liability evasion. Note, the case's outcome expected to reach the Supreme Court will impact trial timing in other criminal cases, with Trump hoping to delay proceedings until after the election. Now, see, it sounds to me like for some reason, he's not listening to the audio that I heard. So here's his take on it. Listening to the lawyers and the judges, it does not seem that Trump will prevail in the DC appeals court. The case will certainly be determined in the Supreme Court. Even there, the argument that a president has absolute immunity for all their actions in office may be difficult to make, but it will serve to delay the trial conclusion until after the 2024 presidential elections. Now, what's interesting about his take on this, after you hear the audio, I don't think he's right at all. Now, the DC court may decide to do whatever, and it might go to the Supreme Court, but by what's going on in this particular audio, I don't think he's right. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to play this audio for you and see if you agree with what I'm saying here. Let me see if I can turn this up for you. I'm going to turn that back, turn this up as loud as I can get it, and see if you guys can hear it.
Say that if you were impeached and convicted for the same and similar conduct, then that would authorize a subsequent prosecution. Because we had many other issues with this prosecution.
Is that a yes?
So
Because I think you said in your brief that impeachment for incitement of insurrection is based on the same or related conduct as that which is in the indictment.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that.
So if he had been convicted by the Senate, then this prosecution would be entirely proper, correct?
Not phrased it that way, because there's lots of other problems with this prosecution that we raised extensively to the district court. He could have been executed.
Under the impeachment judgment clause, if he had been convicted by the Senate when he was impeached for incitement of insurrection on same or related conduct as what's in the indictment, then this prosecution would be properly brought.
This a prosecution could be properly brought. This prosecution, which has tons of other problems, just want to be very clear about that. If he had any concession that this prosecution is.
All right, let me try one more time. Under your interpretation of the impeachment judgment clause, if President Trump had been convicted when he was previously impeached on same or related conduct as that which is in this indictment, the government could properly prosecute him for that same or related conduct. Yes or no?
Potentially, provided they qualified with all kinds of other legal doctrines that are violated in this case. So I admit that.
I'm only asking you under your interpretation of the impeachment judgment clause, is that proper? Is that allowed?
I'm going to stand on my prior answer. I think we're agreeing.
I understand there might be other reasons why you would challenge this prosecution. I'm saying based on your interpretation of the clause, this prosecution would be properly brought.
Again, I would not say this prosecution, be very clear about that.
But it's a prosecution based on same or related conduct.
This prosecution, which has many other issues related to it, what I'm going to say is that the impeachment judgment clause authorizes the prosecution of a president who's been impeached and convicted by the Senate, which President Trump.
All right, so make it a hypothetical. Say a president was impeached and convicted on a charge of incitement of insurrection that is under the same allegations as a criminal indictment. He's convicted. Then the government could bring a prosecution for the same or related conduct, correct?
Don't disagree with that.
Okay.
That's correct.
And then that means that the conduct that's same or related, even if it's official, he could be prosecuted for it, correct?
Sure, convicted.
Correct. Okay, thank you.
But my question goes to after.
Okay, so that's okay. That's going back. Okay, so Trump's attorney is trying to, I mean, she said it like 4 or 5 times, so it's kind of obvious. Trump's attorney is saying, all right, so the Senate, if the Senate had convicted Donald Trump for insurrection, okay, brought charges against him for insurrection, and that was his impeachment thing and all that kind of stuff. If they had done that, then what that means is that you could bring a case against him if he was convicted of that, because then the government could bring a case as a regular civil case or criminal case against him. And the judge is saying, yes, that's right. Okay, well, what she's saying is he wasn't convicted by the Senate for that. So therefore, the case itself is improper. That's what she's laying the groundwork for. So what Mr. Atiba, Simon says, listening to lawyers and the judges, it does not seem that Trump will prevail in the DC appeals court. Well, listening to them because they're biased, that could be true. But listening to the actual argument, if you're listening to the actual argument, then that means that they shouldn't be bringing the case at all, because she's using their own words against them in that. Is she not? So she's actually making the case that this is a wrongful prosecution. That's what the case is. And so she's going to, I'm sure she turned around and said, okay, so then that means that since he was not convicted of insurrection, therefore this is improper prosecution. Hey, Sue, how are you? Wanted to say hello to the great Gazoo over there. Said, been watching you from the straw man days. I used to live in Denver, and it's currently in Florida. Apparently, there's a lot of storms there. So hope you guys are okay over there. Keep yourself safe. So I think this is exposing, just like I said yesterday, this bogus prosecution, this stuff that is not true, is actually exposing the bias of the courts, the bias of the Democrats, the bias of the rhinos. And I don't know if you know this or not, but okay, I don't know what you think of Judge Judy, but she's usually hardcore. I mean, she tells it like it is. And guess who she's endorsing for president? Nikki the loser Haley. Okay, I don't know if you know this either, but Nikki Haley had to cancel an event yesterday because nobody showed up. Okay, that doesn't happen for Donald Trump, does it? Donald Trump has these huge rallies that has to have stadiums and fills them to the max with standing room only inside, and lines clear out they can't even get in. And Nikki Haley can't even fill a small venue. She's a New World Order puppet. I agree. I agree with that 100%. And I'm like, so why is Judge Judy? Now you know who's compromised. I think there was a number 17 post that said something like, you're going to be surprised at who isn't really for you. Yeah. I want to show you something else that's happening right now. So yesterday, apparently, Jay Ashcroft, who is a pathetic Republican, he says he's a Republican, but he's actually a Democrat. Okay. He is running for governor of Missouri, and we've called him out because what he's trying to do is make a caucus in the state of Missouri so that he can install Nikki Haley as the candidate for president. All right. But apparently yesterday he had a big argument with somebody. I think it was on CNN, or it might have been MSNBC, and said that they were considering kicking Biden off the ballot. Now, this is from the Business Insider, but what I want to do is I want to read to you the one that was from Newsweek, because it is so biased. It is ridiculous. Okay. I must have had it up here already. Here it is. Okay. So there's Biden, big Biden, the fool. Okay. Several Republican officials have voiced support for removing Biden from their state's ballot in the 2024 race after Colorado and Maine moved to challenge Donald Trump's candidacy in the GOP primary. Last month, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that Trump's actions in connection with January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol, which it was not, when his supporters violently protested the 2020 election results and tried to block Biden's electoral college certification, constituted a violation of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Okay, now, first of all, the violence did not come from the Trump supporters. So this Newsweek, sorry, Newsweek, you are wrong. Not only that, it wasn't a riot. That is, and it was instigated by the FBI. We know that. So your reporting is, yeah, bad reporting. Maine, and they didn't have any there was no court case. There's no prosecution. So Maine and Colorado are way off base trying to get convict somebody before they've even had a trial. Shows you their bias. Once again, Maine Secretary of State Shayna Bellows also removed the former president from the primary ballot, citing the 14th Amendment section, which she cannot legally do. Trump is expected to remain on Colorado's primary ballot as the U.S. Supreme Court hears his appeal of the ruling. Yeah, because, I mean, it's going to be obvious that they can't do that. Shayna Bellows, they're trying to remove her from office because, I mean, she can't do that. She cannot just thwart the people. Well, I'm Secretary of State. I'm going to do it. That's what Jay Ashcroft does, but he tries to do it, you know, like under the covers. This Shayna Bellows is just doing it right out there in the open. Yep, taking them off. Don't care what you say. Jay Ashcroft's going to try to move in and do a caucus to put Nikki Haley as Missouri's choice, which is not Missouri's choice. Okay. I can go out there all day long, got my Trump shirt on, whatever. And people all over the state say, yep, I'm voting for Trump. Yep, I'm voting for Trump. No one. I have not heard one person, not one, say, yep, I'm voting for Nikki Haley. Really? You might as well just kind of, I don't know. If you're going to vote for Nikki Haley, you might as well vote for, I don't know, a piece of paper. Because what's the point? Or a bean or something, a piece of wood. Because she's nothing. She is not the person that you want in any regard doing anything governmentally. The 14th Amendment states that anyone who takes an oath to defend the Constitution and then engages in insurrection or rebellion. Now listen, insurrection or rebellion is not permitted to hold any office, civil or military, under the United States, which actually means that Biden should be kicked off the ballot because he is in a rebellion right now. And I'm going to tell you what they're saying, why they're saying it. Following Trump's removal from the 2 states primary ballots, it's not. It's only one. So again, Newsweek, wrong. Some Republicans are urging conservative-leaning states to remove Biden from their ballot. Statewide officials in 3 states have indicated they are considering doing so ahead of the November election because Biden is actively rebelling against the people of the United States of America, actively, right at this very time, very minute. While Colorado and Maine removed Trump from seat, Colorado didn't. He's still on there. It is not clear whether Republican officials want to remove Biden from the Democratic primary or general election ballot. I think he needs to be on off of both. Former federal prosecutor Nima Romney told Newsweek that there is no basis for removing Biden from the presidential ballot on any state. Oh, really? The border? How about money laundering through Ukraine? I don't know. How about 50% for the big guy? No judge in their right mind would entertain these tit-for-tat antics, said the tit-for-tatters, by elected officials who have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution, which they're not doing at all. They're not even upholding the Constitution at all. Romney needs to go by the wayside because they're not doing any of that. Romney dismissed Republicans' claims that Biden's handling of the surge of migrants arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border could be used to remove him. He said this does not constitute an insurrection. Oh, no, it's an invasion, which would be a violent uprising against the government. It's just an invasion. Biden's alleged failure to secure the border isn't an insurrection. And even if it were, Biden didn't engage in it for the purpose of the 14th Amendment. Oh, yes, he's doing it on purpose. And everyone knows it. When the Biden administration is going to court to tell the states, which they have no legal standing to do that, I hope you know, to tell the states that they have to take out their borders and let these people through, to me, that tells me that he is actively engaged in rebellion and invasion. It's what would happen to somebody who is bringing in, it was me or you, and we're at the border and we're saying, come on in, come in. Okay. We would be arrested. We would be tried for treason or something. So if you're removing from ballots, we will have no election. Now, they're not going to remove everybody from the ballot. This is what they're going to do. They're going to put Gavin Newsom up there. I'm telling you right now, I'm pretty sure Biden's going to have some kind of health issue and he's not going to be the nominee. I just don't, I can't see it. Unless, of course, what I said yesterday is true, where they want bumbling Biden there to expose more criminal activity. That could be a thing too. Well, here's the Business Insider. Missouri's Secretary of State is threatening to remove Joe Biden from the 2024 presidential ballot after Colorado removed Donald Trump. I don't know. The Missouri Secretary of State is threatening to remove Biden from election ballots after the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that former president, which should be a capital P, Donald Trump cannot appear on Republican primary ballots in the state, which he's still on the ballot. So again, Business Insider on 2 points. It's a capital P, and it's also, he's not removed from the ballot. Ridiculous. The court sided with the lower district court that ruled that Trump incited protesters which he didn't, because before he even left, that, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the whole incident was done before Donald Trump even was done with his speech. And then he told everybody to go home. And they're not even wanting to show. In fact, YouTube, because it's so biased and so corrupt and so ridiculous, and I don't care if they take out every channel that I have. I don't care. Because let me just tell you this. There is a breach of contract with YouTube and the rest of us, because we make content for YouTube. If it wasn't for the content creators, YouTube would have nothing. Okay? They wouldn't have anything. But what they do is they want to, this is the same thing Biden's doing. We want all your money and we're giving you nothing. And then after you make your videos and you spend your time and your money and your research and you're doing all the stuff and you have valid research that you're saying, and we don't like it, we're going to change the rules, and then we're going to go back and we're going to take your videos out, and we're also going to take your channels out. Because I'm just telling you right now, I don't have a crystal ball. So I don't know what YouTube is going to tell me to tell. We're going to tell you what to do. Okay. I don't know what they're going to tell me to do by Friday. Okay. I don't know what they're going to do by next Monday, the Friday after, next month, by the end of this year. What else is it going to be that YouTube is going to tell you you can't talk about? What are we supposed to do? Sprinkle flowers over the Biden administration and little fairy dust over them so that we can say, yeah, they're great, when they're really not? Are we supposed to sit there and tell the American people that, oh, Joe Biden has created all these jobs when he hasn't created any jobs whatsoever? People have just gone back to the jobs that they had before the ridiculous debacle of trying to poison us and everything else. Okay. Telling us lie after lie after lie. We're supposed to perpetuate the lies because YouTube said so. So in order to have a YouTube channel, why don't they just come out and tell you the exact thing? We condone lying, and we need you to lie and tell people that the Democratic Party is all that in a bag of chips and all the rhinos too. Okay. Well, I can't do that. I can't do that. If I don't have any YouTube channels, I can't do that. I'm just going to tell you right now, Rumble doesn't make you a stitch of nothing. Okay. So there's the only people that are getting rich off our content are when they demonetize you. And Dr. Steve Turley is finding this out the hard way now. It's not like I didn't warn them all. We create the content, they steal it from us, and they make the money on it. Absolutely. Because all the people that are here, not only do they take your money, by recommending all the videos that are around yours, they try to give you more content that has ads on it. And if it wasn't for the fact that you people wouldn't, I mean, you literally won't move off of YouTube. I don't get it. I don't mind watching their videos, but you know what? I'd rather just not sign in at all. I would rather even really not watch YouTube at all. I bet you we can get all the content we need on Rumble. And Rumble already made their mistake by going public. So all of this stuff is ridiculous. I mean, it's all ridiculous all the way around. And it's because you people won't get yourselves out of the rut. Hey, Jack Attack, what's going on over there? Like that guy. Red Dragonfly 22 says, pray you've been good. I am always good. eGrab says, yucky weather in the Norfolk, Hampton, Virginia area too. Praying for everyone to stay safe. I hope you guys do stay safe. We got a lot of people over there on Rumble now. Well, that's exactly what's going on with the funding for the church. Do as I say, or we will cut your funding. I don't know what you mean by that. Do what I say, or we'll cut your funding for the church. The reason I'm saying that is because we fund the church. I mean, are they going to tell you? Because some churches do this. They'll say, you won't get any blessings unless you give us some money. The more money you give us, the more rewards you're going to get in heaven. Okay, well, I don't believe that. No. Is that Chef Doggy over there, Sue? It's got a little chef there. Chef hat on a dog. The big corporate churches, yeah, they're just money makers. That's all they are. They're using church as a money maker. Well, here's what they're saying over here. All right, so on Friday, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed to hear Trump's appeal with oral arguments beginning on February 8th. In a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, do we have to say that all the time? Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, who is a Republican, said that he would remove President Joe Biden's name, which he's not the president, from 2024 ballots if the Supreme Court upholds the Colorado's court's ruling, calling the ruling disgraceful. Well, that is a tit for tat, which is dumb. While I expect the Supreme Court to overturn this, if not, secretaries of state will step in and ensure the new legal standard for real Donald Trump applies equally to Joe Biden, which I can see that. If you're going to make a precedent, isn't this funny how precedent does work in some cases? And then when you walk into court and you have Supreme Court case law and a judge says to you, oh, I don't want to hear anything that the Supreme Court has to say. Well, guess what? The Supreme Court overrules you. Is that why you don't want to hear it? Because you think you're all that in a bag of chips when actually you're the lower trial court. You're a low man on the totem pole when it comes to court. Are you upset with that? Because you're not one of the big guys? What's going on here? In an interview with NBC News, yeah, I knew it was one of them, the liberal ones, Ashcroft said he posted the message to remind people of how severe the court's decision is. I'm 99% certain the Supreme Court will stop it. Well, of course they will. But if they don't, chaos is ahead and we've got to avoid it. Ashcroft told the outlet. When asked how Ashcroft could disqualify Biden from the ballot for inciting an erection, yeah, sure. Now I'm repeating Chuck Schumer. Inciting an insurrection, he responded that Biden has led an invasion unstopped into our country from the border. And that is true. You can see that every day. If Democrat states are saying we're not going to let these Republicans run, you bet you're going to see the same thing happening from the Republican states. And it's not good, Ashcroft said. And as far as I can see, there's more Republican states than there are blue states. Trump's campaign previously blasted the Colorado court's ruling and said it has full confidence that, the Trump campaign, that the U.S. Supreme Court will overrule the decision, which is called deeply undemocratic. More than a dozen other states signaled their support for Trump in a letter to the court submitted Friday. The White House did not immediately return Business Insider's request for comment. You mean the big circus tent? Is that what you mean? Yeah. The Business Insider contacted the circus tent in D.C. to see if the big clown was in so that they could get his reaction to what he said. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just say, Twitter, I will not comply. Yeah, I hear you. Brian Wichard, what's up, man? We are the bride of Yahshua. Could be. Bingo. Rumble going public was a big mistake. I know. They're going to be the way of everything else. They could have kept it a private thing, but no, they can't do that. Here's what I think. the states could, if they wanted to, they could bring charges against the Biden administration, because once you're outside of your oath of office, you don't have any more immunity. See, Donald Trump did not incite an insurrection. That was the FBI and Nancy Pelosi. So Nancy Pelosi should technically be impeached. She should technically have criminal charges brought against her. Chuck Schumer, all those guys that are in the Democratic Party who instigated this thing with the FBI, they should actually have charges brought against them. Now, yesterday I was talking to you about The Greatest Show on Earth, that movie, which you can go to my website at AprilLaJune.com, see it. It's right there, The Greatest Show on Earth. I hope some of you guys went and saw it from my site or even on Rumble or whatever. Because if they're saying, if this is correct in this movie, then that means that January 6th was somewhat orchestrated by the good guys to expose the bad guys. Could be. I don't know. How can they keep Trump off the ballot if there was no insurrection? Because they're Democrats. I mean, literally, look at YouTube. YouTube is a perfect example of what Democrats do. I don't want to hear what you have to say, so I'm going to delete your channel. I don't want to hear what you have to say, so I'm going to suppress your views. I'm going to try to take out your subscribers. And if that doesn't work, I'm just going to delete your whole channel anyway. So when the shadow banning doesn't work and they can't stop the people from subscribing to your channel, they'll just stop it anyway behind the scenes. Like, you'll push the subscribe button. It'll be just like the voting machines. So you go in there and you vote for Donald Trump and it turns to Hillary Clinton. I mean, do you remember the videos? Do you know that my entire America Matters radio show, my official channel for America Matters radio show, was taken out? I had no videos on there that I did at all. Okay. They were all from other social media sources talking about the election, what they were seeing in real time, showing in real time what was actually happening. There were people there that were showing that they were election, like poll watchers and poll challengers, and they were not allowed to go into the area. The cops were not allowing them to go into the area where they were supposed to be doing their job. What kind of freaking cops do we have? We have people who are, I don't know, I guess they're dumbed down so much that they think that they can't get another job. Okay. Is that what's going on with the cops? I know they lowered their IQ. I know they did. The criteria now for cops is lower than it was before. So now when you take the test, if you score too high, you're not going to be a cop. Because, and I know this for a fact, because I've had other people tell me this, that they were told that they weren't getting the job because they're not going to listen to authority. Of course, I'm not going to listen to authority when they're telling me to do something that's wrong and against my oath. What's an oath? There's a big difference between an oath and a promise. You know, you're not making an oath to the police department. You're not making an oath to the law enforcement people or the courts. You're not making an oath to any of those things. You're making an oath to the Constitution of the United States. Okay? And whether or not you're talking about the one from 1871 that is actually just for DC. So does that mean technically, so they're taking an oath and they're making that oath to DC? See, the person who's taking the oath doesn't think that. The person who's taking the oath, if you ask them, what are you taking an oath to? Do you understand what the Constitution is? What do you think the Constitution is? So they would say the Constitution, you know, it has the Bill of Rights in it. You know, it's the first through the whatever, however many amendments they went. I mean, they're trying to amend it all the time. It's not working out. States have so many amendments now in them. They're not even constitutions anymore. They're just statute. So all those things that were after 1871 aren't even part of the actual Constitution. It's just for DC. It has nothing to do with you. Really. So are they telling us that the people who are taking an oath of office are actually pledging their loyalty to DC? I don't think that the person who is taking an oath of office would think that at all. That invalidates their oath. Because if you don't know what you're talking about, and there's some underlying thing in there that you don't know anything about, you're not even taking a proper oath of office, because an oath actually has to be something that you are totally aware of. And what they're doing is they're lying to people, telling them that they're taking these oaths of office to the Constitution, and thinking in their mind, Constitution, you're talking about the Constitution with all the amendments and the Bill of Rights and all that kind of stuff. And in reality, they're taking it to DC. I hadn't any idea of the definition of term when I gave my oath, and I thought I knew what it meant. Boy, was I wrong. What did you think an oath was? I'm going to put this up here. This now, when I tell you this, I'm using the liberal definitions, because that's what they're going to go by. Okay. An oath is a promise. If you want to borrow your brother's car, you have to swear a solemn oath that you will bring it back unharmed. Maybe we should do the legal definition. What is the legal definition of oath? An oath is a public pledge that a person will perform some action or duty, generally with the promise of doing so truthfully. An oath can also be used as a way of promising oneself to support a cause or an entity. Okay, let's look up the legal definition of promise. A firm agreement to perform an act, refrain from acting, or make a payment or delivery. In contract law, if the parties exchange promises, each promise is consideration, a valuable item for the other promise. So it doesn't have the word oath in it. The legal definition of it's just like a lighter. If you break it, it's not as it's not as offensive, I guess you might want to say. The definition of terms I had no idea about. Yeah. I mean, the Bible has people taking oaths that, like, you're going to stake your life on this thing. Okay. This oath, you're going to stake your life on it. A promise, you're not really necessarily staking your life on a thing. So there is a degree of difference between a promise, which is, I promise to bring the car back at 2 o'clock. Okay, well, if you miss the 2 o'clock deadline and you're there at 3 o'clock, that's more of a promise, and there's no devastating thing attached to that promise. But if you made an oath, then you would stake your life on that thing, saying, I will defend it till I die. Okay? That's not what they're doing. I think their oaths of office are actually to DC, and I think that it is deceptive because they don't know that. Biden should be off the ballot in the border states due to the influx of illegal migrants. Yeah, well, he should be off the ballot in every state, because he is leading the invasion of the United States of America, and he is also money laundering through Ukraine. Congress is now a money laundering machine. Did you see the new budget stuff? It has 65 billion, I think it's $65 billion going to Ukraine, and another 35 billion going to Israel. And then the lowest amount is the rest of us. Yeah. But the civil service, you're putting your life on the line. It's not a promise. You're putting your life on the line. I know. There is a difference. Shouldn't Jamal Bowman be arrested for the fire alarm situation? You'd think. If you or I did that, oh, I'm sorry, I just wandering around. I thought that was the lever to open the door. Yeah, sure you did. It's just always strategic, isn't it? Yeah, it's just always strategic. It's just in the nick of time that something happens that always thwarts what's happening. It's the Congress of money laundering now. Trying to get as much money from you as possible so they can live high on the hog and you can just keep on paying for all their stuff. I don't think we should be doing that anymore. I really don't. There is a list. Let's see what the full list is. Okay. Of people trying to get him off the ballot. Texas, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has floated removing Biden. Good, because of the border thing. Seeing what happened in Colorado makes me think, except we believe in democracy in Texas, maybe we should take Joe Biden off the ballot in Texas for allowing 8 million people to cross the border since he's been president, disrupting our state. He's just a clown. Patrick has not taken any official action to remove, but the Senate could, the House, the Congress in Texas. Missouri, same thing. Florida, Ron DeSantis challenging Trump in the Republican presidential primary has also said he might consider removing him. Now that's a governor. Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. I mean, after all the debacle with all that stuff on the election, you'd think they would. Aaron Bernstein of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, Cory McGarr of the Arizona House of Representatives, Charlize Byrd of the Georgia House of Representatives wrote in a statement that Biden is 100% not eligible to run for political office, according to the Democrats' interpretation law. See, they think that it only goes one way. Red states reject Biden removal bids. Meanwhile, some Republican officials have rejected efforts to get Biden removed. One of them is Kristi Noem. She does not believe she has authority to do it. Well, she doesn't, but your Congress does. I think in order to remove him from the ballot, though, you'd have to charge him with some kind of a crime. And I think he would have to be convicted. Now, whether he shows up or not doesn't matter. And if Biden is outside of his official duty, which he is outside of his official duty, okay? Because when you are actively working against the people of the United States of America, which he is doing, he's doing everything in his power to destroy everybody. Okay. Everything in his power to destroy. He's destroyed our energy, right? He's destroyed all that. We were independent. He's destroyed it. He did that on day one. I'm going to start dismantling everything that makes your life better. And you will comply. You will have an electric car, which takes hours and 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 hours to charge. And you're going to have to put a special plug in your house now, which is going to cost you thousands of dollars to get that plug. And then if you decide to go on any kind of a trip with your electric car, because remember, they're going to try to get rid of gas. Okay. Then you're going to have to sit in the line for hours and hours and hours and hours and wait for the guy in front of you to have his car charged. And then after his car is charged for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, then you can sit there for hours and hours and hours and have your car charged. Why do you think they want 15-minute cities? And you won't go anywhere beyond that. If you want to go beyond your 15-minute city, you got to get permission. Oh, gosh. Sounds a whole lot like, I don't know, tyranny. Sounds a whole lot like some kind of a dictatorship. And we're supposed to be okay with that? YouTube, is that fine for us to say that we're not okay with that? Is it okay for us to say, I don't want somebody ruling my life and telling me I got to be in some kind of electric roller skate to go from one state to another so that I can go visit my people that I want to visit? Oh, or do I have to ask permission for that? Did you see the thing on the World Economic Forum site where it says that you'll have nothing and you'll be happy, where you don't? I have my own toaster. I have my own stove. I have my own mixer. I have my own stuff. I have my own appliances. I don't have to go to my neighbors and ask them. It shows a little drone bringing whatever it was that you wanted. You just order it. Oh, so if I just want to bake a cake on a whim, I can't bake a cake on a whim because I got to order the drone to drop off an electric mixer to me. And then I'll just clean it up and put it out on my stairs, and the drone will come back and lift it off. And it'll go back to wherever it came from. And I'll be happy. No, I won't be happy, because if I want to make something, I should be able to make it when I want to. That's what's called a free country, that I can make my own decisions. I don't need a group huddle. Oh, shall I bake a cake today? Well, if I bake a cake, is it going to be too many calories for me today? I don't know. What should I do? Should I use oil or butter? I just don't know. Ridiculous. Some parts of me believes things are being destroyed so much that there's not going to be a 2028 election. I don't know. Are you kidding? In California, they're shutting down the chargers for conservation of electricity. No gas for you. Oh, gosh. We're having a brownout. You can't use the electric car charger either. Sue says the stupid Republicans won't go after these idiots when and if they get in office. I know. Here's eGrab4 says Maxine Waters too, plus Kamala Harris promoted the crowdfunding for BLM rioters. Yeah, I know. So many examples. They all should be removed from their ballots according to their own standards. I know. I agree. Absolutely. Drone batteries are lithium ion. They will take forever to recharge. It's like an abundance of stupid lives on that side. And the abundance of have you ever seen one of those people that are really, really fat, and they have a belt on and all their fat is rolled over the belt? Okay, well, think of that as Democrats. They have an abundance of stupid that is now rolled over their belt. So far, it's leaking into our territory. When are we going to stop them? Yeah, this is true. And when you order it, you're not ordering it for you. You're leasing it or renting it. Not only that, okay, think about this. So they're going to ask you, why do you want a mixer? And you're going to say, well, I was going to make a cake. I was going to make a cake. Well, your cake allotment, you've had too many calories this month. So we're not going to send you that mixer. That's what's going on. That's what's gonna go on. Yeah, you may not get your cake mixer then. Yeah, because if Bill Gates doesn't see where he should be putting little digits into your bank account because you didn't obey that order, whatever it was, you didn't exercise right, you didn't have the right opinion, you didn't send your children to school, whatever it is, you didn't get the little digits into your bank account this month to get your monthly allotment of rental for whatever. Sorry, you're denied. This is what they want. That's why they want you to get into these 15-minute cities. That's why they're building all these apartment complexes. So they can shove you in there. They're going to burn you out of your homes. Whatever it takes to get you into these 15-minute cities so that you do not have any ability to do what you want to do for your own self. And there will be a lot of people who are okay with that because they are not used to making their own decisions. They're not used to living on their own. I mean, my house is off grid. I don't have to, as people ask me all day long, how do you take care of your utilities? Well, I mean, the sun does a lot, you know? Last night I was actually thinking about, because we took off the electricity for a few minutes, and I thought, you know what? This really isn't bad. I have oil lamps and stuff. I know how to make things that would give me light. So not really worried about it. I thought, wow, this is very calming and relaxing, actually. Put the oil lamps around, read a book, not even have to worry about social media, none of that stuff. I thought, this is great. I actually like it. But people in the city would be freaking out. Of course, I have to have the electric on because I got a refrigerator. But now that it's cold outside, That's not even a problem. I got my wood stove right there, you know. Don't really need to have as much stuff as the other people do. So I haven't always been this way, but I planned and I said, you know what? I got to get off grid. I got to do something to get off grid. Because if I don't get off grid and they want to try to force me to have points in my bank account, what am I going to do about that? You know, you will obey, you will do this, you will have your grocery allotment, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to adhere to that stuff. Illegal invaders are being dropped off at most train stations in the suburbs. Then the counties and townships have to foot the bill to send them to Chicago. Yep. The fat over the belt is so much that it stopped the jingling of the keys. I agree. Brian says it sounds like the Hunger Games. I know. Did you know that map, I'm pretty sure it's for the Hunger Games. Yeah, I think it is for the Hunger Games. There's a map, a district map. That is the same exact map. If you overlay it, how they want to make the districts in the United States. See, they're telling you things without us realizing. Because a long time ago, even I was like, well, you're right. That is fiction. I mean, the storyline is fiction. It's all fiction. But it's not fiction. It's what they're planning to do to you and to me. So we need to stop saying that. Oh, it's only fiction. Let them eat bread. Yep, looks like FEMA. I know. So they're making these huge, beautiful luxury apartment buildings that have everything in it. Go look at what they plan to do with the 15-minute cities, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that is awesome. All the shopping, little shops, you know. You guys will walk everywhere or bicycle wherever you want to go. It's wherever you can go walk within 15 minutes. That's what they're saying. Okay. So it's supposed to be these great little towns of community. Oh, it's just going to be so wonderful. Everybody will know everybody. No, it's not going to be so wonderful because you're going to be stuck there and they're going to tell you what to do. And then they're going to make it worse and worse and worse and worse because now they've got everybody divided in these 15-minute cities where they can't get out of it. You have no transportation, can't go from one place to another without permission from the state. I'm pretty sure that pretty soon YouTube is going to make sure that nobody can say that. They'll make a ruling. They'll make some kind of crazy thing 2 months from now. They'll come back and ding my channel. You can't say that. They did with horses. They did away with horses in 10 years for the majority of transportation. All it takes is 15 years to rewrite the way of life. Yeah. Independence, Missouri is a good example of that because when I was young, there were farms inside the city limits. Okay. And they had farm animals and all that stuff. Nobody cared. It was fine. But the city council decided to make a ruling that if you had farm animals, and let's say that you had a bunch of sheep, and if you took all the sheep off of your property, like even if you were going to take them to the show, if you took them all to the show, you could not bring them back. You had to at least keep one sheep at the property in order to take the rest of them back. And they knew eventually people would forget that and they just trip up and do it. That was the way that they got rid of the horses and all the farm animals out of Independence. Now, some people have gone ahead and gotten chickens and things like that because they know what's coming. And they're doing it anyway. And nobody said anything about it because everybody knows what's coming. And most of the people are conservative, regardless of what the propagandist tells you every day. Most of the people are Democrat. Most of the people are Democrat. Most of the people are liberal. Most of the people are liberal. We're bombarded with that 24/7. It's not even true. I don't believe that at all. I think most of the people have common sense in their head still. And it's a very small majority that are really involved in the mental problem area. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to try my hardest to finish getting everybody on the list for my newsletter. And then I'm going to put out a newsletter. I promise you it's going to be this week. Okay. Yesterday, I was able to put on, let's see, times 20. I was able to put on 600 people on my list yesterday. Okay. So I'm going to try really hard to get the rest of them on there. Hey, Star, what's up? I want my gasoline engine in my garage. It's simple. Woe be the day if they say federal luck next time. Charlie Brown has the field. Yeah, exactly. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. So we're halfway through the week. And my channels are still there. It's amazing. All right, guys, have a great rest.